how to solo. What notes are we going to play? Where are we going to find those notes on the fretboard? What notes are we not going to play? And as a song, as a model for our guitar solo, I want to use the same song that we had in last month's challenge. It's a song by Brandi Carlile. It's called The Story. So in the challenge, I asked you to learn the solo that's on the record. This time, you're in the hot seat. You're going to be the session guitar player, and you're going to play your own solo on that song. So I'll keep things fairly simple, I hope, this week. We're going to figure out what are the chords and what key are we in. Those things are important to me. If I'm on a session and I'm going to play a guitar solo on something, that's the really important stuff before I get into any kind of a melodic idea or even a tone or anything. I want to know those two things. What key are we in, and what are the chords? If you know one, it helps you understand the other, because if you knew, for example, if this song was in G, it's not, but if that was the key of the song, you'd have a pretty good sense that, okay, we'll probably have a G chord, maybe there's a C chord, there might be an E minor or a D. If it's adventurous, maybe there's an A minor. Maybe there's some chords outside the key. Maybe there's an F or something. That wouldn't be so strange to find in this kind of a song, to find one or two chords that are outside the key. But the more we understand about music, the more that those things are interrelated. If we know what key the song is in, we know what chords we're likely to see, and we also know how those chords relate to the home key. Also, if we know what the chords are, which oftentimes there's some kind of basic chord chart that somebody will present to me on a session. Either they'll scribble it out, or if I'm recording at home, they'll send me, well, not this, but it could be a scan of something they've handwritten, but they might just send me what the chords are. And if I don't know what key it's in, I can use the chords to figure that out, and I'll explain that here. But of course, this is the modern world we live in. I hope that you will figure out the chords by ear. And if that's impossible, or if you're just not in the habit of doing that, and you were to say Google Brandi Story chords, right away you're going to get some helpful, what do you call it? I can't think of it. The word for, what comes up on Google. You're going to get some, not responses. Anyway, you know what I mean. So when I Googled Brandi Story chords, I got tabs dot ultimate guitar, basically. And I also got a link to a website called Chordie, Chordie. And if I scroll down a little bit more, I got a video on YouTube of Brandi Carlile teaching how to play this song, which, I mean, how awesome is that? You can actually watch a video. It's less than 3 minutes long, and Brandi Carlile will teach you herself how to play the song and what the chords are, and it uses a capo, so she shows how to do that. So since I've talked about ear training here before, I don't so much want to get into it here. If you want to figure out what the chords are by Googling or looking on some websites, that's fine. We just want to figure it out. So Brandi tells us what the chords are. She plays it in A with a capo at the 2nd fret. So it winds up that we're actually in B. So the 4 chords that the guitar solo are, the 4 chords that the solo goes over are, not thinking about capo, but just if you heard these chords played, they are B, B major, F sharp, that's F sharp major, G sharp minor, and then E, or you could say E major. So B, F sharp. If we just stop there, B and F sharp, if we know a little bit about music theory, we know we might be in the key of B, in which case that's the 1 chord going to the 5 chord. We also could be in the key of F sharp. It could be that we start on B as the 4 chord, and then we go to F sharp, and that's the 1. So we still don't really know yet. We might be in B, we might be in F sharp. The next chord is G sharp minor. Well, that could be the 6 minor, the relative minor in the key of B, or it could be the 2 minor, the 2 chord in the key of F sharp. So we still don't really know what key we're in. Could be either one. And then the 4th chord is E major. Now, that's really the one that locks it in. So we've got 3 major chords, B, F sharp, and E, and a minor chord, G sharp minor. The E chord is the thing that tells us that we are in the key of B, because now that progression looks very much, like the regular chords we would expect to see in the key of B. It's the B is the 1, F sharp is the 5, G sharp minor is the 6, and E is the 4. You could say that this is a 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. Super common in all kinds of pop music. I'll include a link called The Axis of Awesome, which lists and demonstrates lots and lots of songs that are written just like that. So that's the information that we have: B, F sharp, G sharp minor, and E, and we know what they are functioning as. Some songs are going to be harder to figure out, of course. Some songs might be easier to figure out. But this is just a good kind of basic song to get started on. Another way to figure out what the key is, if you weren't thinking about the Roman numerals of 1 chord, 5 chord, would just be to spell out the chords. So the first chord is B, that's B, D sharp, F sharp. This requires that you know how to spell these chords out. Hope that you do. B, D sharp, F sharp, that's B. The F sharp chord is F, A sharp, C sharp. The G sharp minor chord is G sharp, B, D sharp. And the E chord is E, G sharp, B. And if we start on B and just write the alphabet across a page, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and so on. Just, you can go through maybe twice through the whole musical alphabet. And from spelling out the chords, you would know that when we have an F, it will be sharp because there's an F sharp in the B chord. When we have a C, it will be sharp because there's a C sharp in the F sharp chord. There's also an A sharp in the F sharp chord. There's a G sharp in the E chord. There's a D sharp in the G sharp minor chord. So what you would find is that now we've got B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, and it would keep going. And if you just play that on the guitar, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. Well, that's a major scale. That's a do, re, mi, simple major scale. So that's another way to figure out what key we are in, is just to spell out all of the chords, with the notes of those chords, and assemble it as a set of notes and see if it looks like a scale. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. In this case, it does. So we've solved this puzzle for now. We are going to be in the key of B, and we know what the chords are. We can make a chart if we want to look at it while we're soloing. I guess one other piece of information that I would want to look at that helps us figure out if we're in B or something else is, what happens before the solo, what happens after the solo. And right before the solo, there's 2 bars of B. and after the solo, it goes to a B chord again. So that's more information that really tells us that B seems to be the home bass chord here. So that's the Through Line episode 1. Hope that you learned something, and if you'd like to keep working on this, figure out some more songs. You've got a week to experiment with this. Look at some other songs that have guitar solos in them and try to apply this same kind of idea. Just get the information. What are the chords that we're going to solo over? That's all we need this week. Next week we'll talk about where to find those notes, and then as the month goes on, we'll get into some strategies for how to solo.